Track 1. The Lion and the Mouse.
One day, a mouse accidentally bumped into a sleeping lion's paw. The lion woke up and put his great big paw over the mouse. The mouse said,
"I'm sorry. Don't hurt me."
The lion picked up the mouse to eat him.
"Please forgive me."
The mouse cried.
"I won't forget it. I might be able to help you one day."
The lion laughed at this.
"How can a little mouse help a big lion?"
He asked.
"But you have made me laugh, so I will let you go."
He put the mouse down and the mouse ran away. 2 weeks later, the mouse heard the lion from far away. He ran to the sound and found the lion in a net. Some hunters had caught the large animal. The mouse waited. When the hunters left to get their wagon, he quickly began biting the net. Soon, the net broke and the lion was free. The lion put the mouse on his back and ran into the forest. When they stopped, the mouse said,
"I told you I could help you one day."
The lion said,
"I'm sorry I doubted you. Now I realize there is greatness even in a small mouse."
Track 2. A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing.
Once upon a time, a wolf wanted to catch some sheep, but a shepherd and his dogs were too careful. The wolf could not get near the sheep. After a few days, the wolf sat on a hill and looked at the sheep. One of the dogs walked over and said,
"You will not catch our sheep. Dogs are too smart."
The wolf said,
"Wolves are dogs too, but wolves are smarter. You will see that when I catch a sheep."
Later, the wolf found a sheepskin by the road, and he thought of a plan. The next day, the wolf dressed in the sheepskin and walked into the field with the sheep. He walked around, and no one knew he was a wolf. He looked at the dogs and thought,
"Who is smarter? I am."
Suddenly, the shepherd walked into the field to kill a sheep for meat. The wolf looked so much like a sheep that the shepherd killed him and not a real sheep. When the shepherd picked up the sheepskin, he and the dogs saw it was the wolf. One of the dogs thought,
"If you look for trouble, you will find it."
Track 3. The Scorpion and the Frog.
a scorpion and a frog met at the side of a river. The scorpion wanted to cross the river, but he didn't know how to swim.
"Please, Mr. Frog,"
He said,
"would you carry me across the river?"
"I can't do that,"
said the frog.
"You are a scorpion, and you will sting me."
"No,"
said the scorpion.
"I won't sting you because then we will both drown in the river."
This made sense to the frog, and he agreed to help him. The scorpion climbed onto the back of the frog, and the frog began to swim. When they reached the middle of the river, the scorpion stung the frog. It hurt the frog very much, and they both began to sink under the water.
"Why did you sting me?"
asked the frog.
Now I will die, and you will surely drown.
I couldn't help it,
Said the scorpion.
I am a scorpion, and that is what scorpions do. And you knew I was a scorpion when you let me ride on your back.
Track 4. The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
There once was a boy who watched his family's sheep each day. One day he was bored and wanted to have some fun. He shouted to the people in the town,
Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is trying to eat my sheep.
Many people from the town ran to him. When they got there was no wolf. There was only the boy, and he was laughing at them because they ran there for nothing. Another day, the boy was bored, and again he shouted,
Wolf! Wolf!
People from the town ran to him, but the boy just laughed at them again. Then, one day, a wolf really did attack the boy's sheep. The boy shouted,
Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is attacking my sheep! Help! Help!
He was very afraid, and he shouted again and again. But the people in town who heard him thought,
The boy is only trying to play a trick on us.
and no one went to help him. The wolf killed all of the boy's sheep. This is a very old and well-known fable. It has an important lesson. If you often lie, people will not believe you, even when you tell the truth.
Track 5. The City Mouse and the Country Mouse.
One day, a country mouse invited a city mouse to his house for dinner. The city mouse was happy.
I will eat a lot of wonderful food.
He thought, but the country mouse only had some water and a little rice.
You are very poor,
Said the city mouse.
Let's go to my house in the city. I have lots of delicious food to eat.
The city mouse had cheese, cake, and honey. He also had bread and lots of fruit.
You are so rich, and I am so poor.
Said the country mouse.
I wish I lived in the city too.
Suddenly, they saw a cat. It had big teeth and sharp claws, and it tried to catch them. The country mouse and the city mouse ran into a hole and hid. They were frightened to death. The next time they tried to eat, a boy threw a shoe at them.
Let's try again,
Said the city mouse.
It is a little dangerous, but there is so much good food to eat.
No,
Said the country mouse.
I am going back to my house in the country. I only have rice to eat and water to drink, but I am safe and happy there.
Track 6. The King and His Two Wives.
Once upon a time, there was a king who had two wives. One was younger than the king, and the other was older. Both wives loved the king, but the young wife was unhappy because the king's hair was starting to turn gray. "I don't want a husband who looks so old," said the young wife. "People will think I'm his daughter." So each night, she pulled out some of his gray hair.
"Ouch,"
said the king. But he wanted his young wife to be happy, and he didn't stop her.
The older wife was happy that the king's hair was turning gray.
Now people will stop thinking I'm his mother,
she said. And each morning, she pulled out some of the king's black hair. Ouch, said the king. But he wanted his older wife to be happy, and he didn't stop her either. Soon, the king had no hair left at all. Both of his wives cried when they saw how silly he looked. Oh well, said the king, if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one.
Track 7. The Tortoise and the Hare.
One day, the hare told some other animals that he could run fast. He said,
I have never lost a race. I will race anyone.
Then the hare looked at the tortoise and laughed. He said that the tortoise had short legs and was very slow. The tortoise said,
I will race you.
The hare was surprised and laughed more.
I can dance around you.
Yes,
said the tortoise.
you are as swift as the wind, but I will win.
The hare thought this was impossible and said okay. They agreed on a day and a place, and all the other animals talked about the race. On the day of the race, all the animals came to watch. The race began. The tortoise started walking slowly but surely. The hare quickly ran out of sight. Another animal might stop and give up, but not the tortoise. The tortoise continued walking. Then the hare stopped. He was confident that he would beat the tortoise, so he lay down and took a nap. The tortoise continued walking and walking. When the hare woke up, he saw that the tortoise had won the race and was resting under a tree. The tortoise said to the hare,
Slowly but surely wins the race.
Track 8. The Farmer and the Goats.
One stormy winter night, a farmer noted that another farmer's goats were on his land. He was quite excited. If these new goats stay here, I could sell them in the spring, he thought. The farmer made sure that the new goats were comfortable. He let them stay in the warm barn and gave them large piles of hay to eat. Meanwhile, he showed no concern for his old goats. He left them out in the bitter wind and gave them almost no food. They were cold and hungry all night long.
The next morning, the storm was over and the sun was shining. When the farmer opened the barn doors, the goats rushed out as quickly as they could.
How can you leave?
Shouted the farmer angrily.
I was so generous to all of you. Yes,
said one of the goats.
But you ignored your own goats on a stormy night. We feared that one day you would be careless with us too.
The farmer learned that you shouldn't forget about old friends when you are trying to make new ones.
Track 9. The Wizard and the Gold Umbrella.
One day, a boy lost his umbrella. He was very sad.
It is going to rain and I am going to get wet,
he cried. A wizard heard the boy and showed him a gold umbrella.
Is this your umbrella?
He asked. The boy was very honest and said,
No, my umbrella was not made of gold.
Then the wizard showed him a silver umbrella.
That isn't my umbrella either,
said the boy. Finally, the wizard showed him his original umbrella.
That's my umbrella,
said the boy. The wizard said,
You are an honest boy, and I will give you all 3 umbrellas.
A greedy stranger heard this story and had an idea. He went to the wizard and said,
I lost my umbrella too.
The wizard showed him a beautiful gold umbrella.
Is this your umbrella?
He asked. The greedy stranger smiled.
Yes, that is my umbrella.
He lied.
Give it to me.
Instead of giving him the umbrella, the wizard clapped his hands once and it began to rain. Soon the greedy man was wet and cold. The wizard said,
An honest man gets more than he loses. A dishonest man gets nothing. I will not give you any umbrellas.
Track 10. The Farmer's Daughter.
A farmer's daughter was walking to the market with a bucket of milk on her head. As she walked, she started to make plans.
I will get some money for this milk. With that money, I will buy 50 eggs.
She said,
In a couple of weeks, those eggs will hatch, and I will have 50 chickens. I will give those chickens good food, and they will grow big and fat. Then I will take them to the market and sell them. I will make lots of money. I'll take that money and buy a beautiful dress.
She said,
I will go to parties and all the boys will want to dance with me. The other girls will be jealous, but I don't care. I'll toss my head like this.
As she spoke, she tossed her head. The bucket fell off her head and all the milk spilled on the ground. She had to go home and tell her mother what happened.
Ah, child,
said her mother.
You shouldn't count your chickens before they hatch.
Track 11. The Ant and the Grasshopper.
On a warm summer day, a grasshopper was dancing, singing, and fooling around. He saw an ant pass by. The ant was carrying food on its back.
Why don't you come and have fun with me?
Asked the grasshopper.
Put down your heavy things and relax a little.
The ant stopped and said,
I am gathering food for the winter. I have much more to gather after this. I suggest that you gather food too. Winter is coming.
The grasshopper laughed.
Why worry about winter? It's summer now. We have lots of food for summer. It is time to have fun.
Winter came, and it was a cold winter. It snowed every day, and it was hard to find food. The grasshopper grew hungry. The ant and his family, however, were happy. They ate the food that they had gathered during the summer. The ants passed by the grasshopper one windy day and noticed he was starving. The grasshopper begged the ants for a little food.
Why didn't you gather food during the summer?
They asked.
I was having too much fun,
said the grasshopper. And the ants said,
If you play all summer, you will be hungry all winter.
The grasshopper learned that you must work hard and prepare for the future.
Track 12. The Dancing Monkeys.
Once upon a time, a man taught some monkeys how to dance. The monkeys were very clever, and they learned how to dance very well. The man was very happy. He dressed the monkeys up in fancy clothes and masks. Then he took them to a party. He wanted people to admire his dancing monkeys. The dancing monkeys were very popular at the party. Nobody knew they were monkeys, and everyone enjoyed watching them dance. Then a naughty boy threw some bananas in front of the dancing monkeys. At the sight of the bananas, the monkeys forgot all about dancing. They tore off their masks and rushed over to the bananas and began to eat. All the people at the party began to laugh.
They aren't dancers at all,
said one guest.
They're just monkeys. I guess not everything you see is what it appears to be.
And,
said another,
you should never try to be something you're not.
Track 13. The Ant and the Dove.
There once was a small red ant. He was taking a walk on a sunny morning and became very thirsty. He hurried to the river for a drink. However, he leaned over too far and fell into the water.
Help!
He shouted.
I don't know how to swim. Somebody help me!
A dove happened to fly by, and she saw the ant. She picked up a leaf and threw it into the water. The ant climbed onto the leaf and was safe.
Thank you for saving me,
said the ant.
You're welcome,
answered the dove.
You are very small, so try to be more careful.
Later, the ant saw the dove sleeping in a tree. Under the tree, he saw a hunter with a net. The ant crawled onto the hunter's foot and bit him hard. The hunter yelled and dropped his net. The dove woke up and flew away.
Thank you,
said the dove later.
You may be small, but your friendship is great and valuable.
Track 14. The Man, the Boy, and the Donkey.
One day, a man and his son walked with their donkey to a market. As they walked, a man passed by. He said,
"You fools! Why don't you ride the donkey?"
So the man told his son to get on the donkey, and they walked on. Soon, they saw some other men. One said,
"What a lazy boy! He rides and his father walks."
So the man told the boy to get off, and he got on himself. Soon they saw some women. One woman said, "Shame on you! You ride and your son walks." The man felt ashamed. So the man put the boy on the donkey with him, and they walked on. As they got close to the market, people began to look at them. People asked,
"Why are you overloading your donkey?"
Now the man and the boy thought and thought. Then they took a pole and tied the donkey's legs to it. They put the pole on their shoulders and carried the donkey between them. People laughed and laughed, and when they crossed a bridge, the pole broke and the donkey fell into the river. An old man laughed and said,
"If you try to please everyone, you will not please anyone."
Track 15.
The Monkey and the Nuts. There once was a young monkey who loved eating nuts. One day, he came upon a house near the edge of the forest. He could see a large jar of nuts through the window. This excited him.
Wow!
Thought the monkey.
It's my lucky day.
He quietly opened the window and went inside the house. First, he tried to take the whole jar, but it was too heavy. Then he reached inside and grabbed a big handful of nuts. When he tried to take his hand out, it became stuck.
The monkey tried to pull out his hand several times, but it wouldn't come out. An owl outside the house saw this.
"You foolish monkey,"
said the owl.
"Your hand is stuck because you have too many nuts. Let go of some. Just take a few."
The monkey didn't listen. He wanted a big handful. Suddenly, the owner of the house appeared. The monkey dropped all the nuts and ran away.
"You were too greedy, so now you have nothing,"
said the owl. The monkey sat under a tree and cried.
Track 16. The Goose and the Golden Eggs.
Once there was a very poor man. He was often hungry, and his clothes were full of holes. He was very sad. Then one day, he found a lovely goose in the forest and took it home. The next morning, the poor man discovered a small golden egg under the goose. His face lit up with joy. "This is amazing!" he shouted. He took the egg to the market and sold it. Then he used the money to buy food and clothes. "Life is getting better," he said happily.
The goose changed the man's life. It laid a golden egg every morning. The man had no worries now, but he became greedy.
"This goose must be bursting with golden eggs,"
he thought.
"I hate getting them so slowly."
Hoping to get rich faster, he killed the goose and cut it open with a knife. However, there was nothing special inside. The man felt very stupid.
"I could have been rich,"
he cried.
"But I was greedy, and now I have nothing."
Track 17. The Fox and the Cat.
One day, a fox and a cat were talking. The fox was very proud.
I am very sly,
he said.
You are?
Asked the cat.
Yes,
said the fox.
No one can catch me. I have a whole bag of tricks. I know 100 ways to escape from dogs and people.
The fox looked proudly at the cat.
How about you?
The cat said quietly.
I have only one way, but that is usually enough.
After the cat said this, they heard a noise. It became louder and louder. The fox and the cat looked at each other. Suddenly, a pack of dogs ran toward the fox and the cat. Quickly, the cat ran up a tree and hid behind some leaves.
This is my way to escape,
he said.
What are you going to do?
The fox thought about one way and then another. Some ways were better than other ways. Some ways might look good to the cat. But as the fox thought it over, the dogs came nearer and caught him. The hunters and the dogs quickly killed the fox. The cat thought,
sometimes one is better than many.
Track 18. The Bear and the Bees.
One day, a bear was walking through the woods looking for fruit. He happened upon a log which smelled very sweet.
There must be honey inside,
thought the bear.
This is super!
He sniffed around the log very carefully, trying to decide whether any bees were at home. As he was sniffing, one of the bees came home with fresh nectar. The bee guessed that the bear wanted to steal some honey. It acted quickly and stung the bear on the nose.
The bear lost his temper in an instant. He jumped on the log and beat it with his large paws. I will punish all of you, he roared. Now all the bees inside the log came out and attacked the bear. They stung him over and over again. The poor bear ran away, but the bees chased him everywhere. Finally, the bear had to jump into a river to get away. Now I know, said the bear. Sometimes it's better to walk away than to fight.
Track 19. The Donkey and the Dog.
One day, a farmer went to see the animals in his stable. His favorite donkey was there with the other animals. The farmer often rode the donkey. Because this was the farmer's favorite, the servants always fed him well and took care of him. The farmer brought his dog with him that day. The dog was fat and clean. It danced and jumped happily and licked the farmer's hand. The farmer took out some special food and gave it to the dog. When he sat to talk to his servants, the dog jumped onto his lap. And there it sat gladly while the farmer scratched its ears.
The donkey saw the farmer give the dog some special food. He saw the farmer scratch its ears. The farmer never treated the donkey so well. The donkey broke loose and began dancing around the stable. He wanted to dance like the dog. He wanted to make the farmer like him too. But the farmer laughed and laughed until his stomach hurt. Then the donkey walked up to the farmer and tried to climb onto the farmer's lap like the dog. The servants quickly used sticks to hit the donkey to move him away. They quickly taught him a lesson. Do not try to be something that you are not.
Track 20. The Fox and the Crane.
There once was a fox who lived alone in the forest. One day he was bored, so he invited the crane to dinner. "Thanks," said the crane, who was very kind. "I accept your invitation." At dinner, the crane was disappointed. The fox served nothing but soup. He put it in big, flat dishes, and the crane couldn't eat it. The soup kept falling out of her long bill. The fox laughed.
"You look so silly,"
he said as he lapped up his own soup. "My friend,"
said the crane,
"thank you for dinner. Why don't you be my guest tomorrow? I make excellent soup."
"Sure," replied the fox. "I always welcome a free meal." The next day, the crane made some delicious vegetable soup. The lovely smell made the fox's stomach growl. However, when he sat down to eat, he couldn't. The crane had served the soup in tall cups. The fox's mouth couldn't reach the soup inside.
"I won't apologize for this dinner,"
said the crane.
"For as everyone knows, one bad turn deserves another."
The Emperor's New Clothes.
Once upon a time, there was an emperor who loved clothes. He did not care about winning wars or getting richer. He only cared about what he wore. The people of the kingdom knew about the emperor's love of clothes. One day, two tailors were talking about it. They had an idea that would make them rich. The tailors went to the emperor and said,
"Your Highness, we have made some very special cloth for you. As a matter of fact, only very intelligent people can see this cloth." The emperor got very excited about the unique cloth. "Make me a suit right away," he ordered the two men. The news about the emperor's suit spread around the kingdom. 1 week later, the new suit was ready. The men presented it to the emperor, but he couldn't see it. "I must be stupid," the emperor thought. "I can't let them know that I can't see the cloth." The two men pretended to put the suit on the emperor. "What a fine suit," the emperor said. Then he walked outside.
The people stared at the emperor as he walked around the town. They saw that he was naked, but they were concerned about looking stupid.
"What a fashionable suit,"
they cried. Suddenly, a young boy said,
"Wait, he's not wearing any clothes at all."
Some people heard the boy and knew he was right.
"Look,"
they said,
"the emperor has no clothes."
The emperor then realized he was naked in public, but he couldn't admit it. He shouted,
"You can't see my suit because you are all stupid."
He knew, however, that he was the stupidest of all.
The Little Mermaid.
Deep in the ocean, there lived a sea king and his people. The sea king had 6 beautiful daughters. His youngest daughter, Ariel, was the most beautiful of all. Ariel's greatest wish was to see the world above the sea. One night, Ariel swam to the surface of the water and saw a large ship. Among the men aboard, she spotted a very handsome man who was a prince. Suddenly, a big storm came. The huge waves made the ship tip over. Ariel brought the drowning prince to shore and sang sweetly to him. As he was waking up, Ariel swam away.
Back at home, Ariel sought help from the Sea Witch.
"This potion will make you become human,"
said the Sea Witch.
"In return, I desire your beautiful voice."
Using magic, she put Ariel's voice into a shell. Ariel swallowed the potion and passed out. She woke up on land with her prince looking at her.
Are you all right?
He asked. Ariel had no voice to answer him. The prince brought Ariel to his castle. One day he told her,
My heart belongs to the woman who saved my life.
Ariel couldn't tell him it was her.
One day, the prince decided to marry a princess from a distant land. This broke Ariel's heart. When she saw the princess, Ariel knew it was the Sea Witch. Ariel feared for the prince. She had to fight the Sea Witch to prevent the wedding. During the fight, the Sea Witch's shell broke, which gave Ariel her voice back. As Ariel spoke aloud, the prince realized she was the one who had saved him. Turning to Ariel, he said,
It was you all along.
The prince kissed Ariel, and she knew she would be with him forever.
Thumbelina. There was once a woman who wanted a child, so she went to a fairy for help.
"Here is a seed,"
said the fairy.
"If you plant it in a pot, your wish will come true."
The woman did what she was told. In time, a beautiful flower grew. When the flower opened, the woman saw a tiny girl sitting in it. This made the woman very happy.
"I will name you Thumbelina,"
she said,
"because you are no bigger than my thumb."
She loved her daughter very much.
One day, an ugly toad saw Thumbelina.
"She would make a good wife for my son,"
thought the toad. The toad stole Thumbelina and took her to a pond. Luckily, a kind fish helped Thumbelina get away. After that, Thumbelina met a mouse.
"If you cook and clean for me, you can stay with me,"
he said. Thumbelina agreed and was living happily with the mouse. Then one day, the mouse told her she had to marry his friend, a mole. Thumbelina didn't care for the mole, but she had no choice.
Before the wedding, Thumbelina found a sick bird. She looked after the bird until he was healthy again. In return for her kindness, the bird offered to take her away. As they flew, they saw a pretty white flower.
"I can be happy living there,"
said Thumbelina. When they reached the flower, Thumbelina was surprised. A very small man was standing in the flower.
I am the king of flowers,
he said.
Marry me and be my queen.
Thumbelina said yes, and they lived happily ever after. The Hardy Tin Soldier.
As the birthday present was opened, the tin soldier heard a childlike shout. He and 24 other tin soldiers were a gift to a little boy. However, not all of them were complete. One of the soldiers had only one leg. After playing, the boy put his soldiers away near the other toys. The soldiers saw a beautiful dancer wearing a paper dress in a toy castle. Her leg was lifted so high that it seemed she also had only one leg. The tin soldier fell in love with her at once.
One day, the boy placed the tin soldier to guard an open window. A strong wind pulled the soldier out. He tumbled to the sidewalk. Although the boy and his mother searched, they couldn't find him. The soldier was alone and covered by dirt. Later, other children picked him up. They put him in a paper boat in a small stream, which flowed into a lake. Suddenly, a fish jumped and swallowed him. He was nervous, but the thought of seeing the dancer again helped him to stay strong.
The soldier was deep inside the fish. Then sunlight burst in. He saw steam coming from a teapot he recognized. He was back in the boy's kitchen. The soldier looked upon the dancer with joy. Suddenly, a cat struck the soldier, and he fell into a pan in the oven. He watched the dancer sadly as he melted away. Then a strong wind blew the dancer inside with him. She burned up in a flash. Later, when the little boy looked, all he found inside was a tiny tin heart.
The Little Match Girl. It was New Year's Eve, and it was very cold outside. A strong, cold wind blew through the streets. The houses and ground were covered in snow. Everyone stayed indoors because it was too cold to go outside. But there was one little girl on the street, all by herself. She sold matches for her family, but that day nobody had bought any. She had no shoes, and her tiny feet were frozen. The little girl felt lonely and very cold, so she decided to find a place to stay warm. The little girl sat down next to a building. She hugged herself to stay warm, but it was still too cold.
If I light one match, maybe I can keep warm,
she thought. So the girl lit a match. In the light, she saw a little girl preparing to eat a delicious Christmas dinner. After the first match went out, she lit another one. This time, she saw a beautiful Christmas tree. When the girl lit another match, she saw her grandmother, even though her grandmother had died a long time ago.
Please,
said the little girl.
Don't go, grandmother. I am so sad and lonely here.
The little girl did not want her grandmother to leave, so she lit all of her matches together. Her grandmother smiled and looked very kind. She hugged the little girl. Together they flew high in the sky. It was so free and wonderful that the little girl laughed. The next morning, people found a little girl who had died in the snow. Nobody knew the beautiful things she had seen, or how happy she was with her grandmother.
The Emperor and the Nightingale. There once was an emperor who loved beautiful things. One day, he read about the music of the nightingale. The book said that nothing was lovelier than the nightingale's song. The emperor sent some men into the forest to find the nightingale. When they returned, the emperor was disappointed. The nightingale was just a plain brown bird. Then she began to sing. Her song was so beautiful that it brought tears to the emperor's eyes. "Lovely nightingale," he said, "I must give you a gift. What do you wish for?"
You gave me enough already,
said the nightingale.
I saw tears in an emperor's eyes. That is enough.
The nightingale remained with the emperor and sang for him each night. One day, though, someone sent the emperor a box. Inside the box was a mechanical nightingale.
The new nightingale sang just like the real one, but it was covered with colorful jewels. When it sang, its tail moved and the jewels shone. The emperor was pleased with this gift, and he sent the real nightingale back to the forest. The mechanical nightingale sang beautifully day and night. One day, though, it stopped working. The emperor was very sad. He became sick, and everyone thought he would die.
If I could hear the nightingale again, I would get better,
said the emperor. Suddenly, he heard some marvelous music. The real nightingale was singing at his window. Her song cured him, and he became strong again. After that day, the emperor treasured the real nightingale. He put away the mechanical bird and never looked at it again.
The Princess and the Pea. There once was a prince who wanted a wife. Many rich and beautiful girls wanted to marry him, but the prince rejected them all. "I will only marry a real princess," he told the queen. Then one night, there was a terrible storm. In the middle of the storm, a girl knocked on the palace door.
I am a princess,
she said,
and I wish to marry the prince.
The prince was doubtful. "She doesn't look like a princess," he said to the queen. "Her hair is a mess, and her clothes are covered with mud. Besides, princesses don't wander around in a storm."
Leave it to me,
said the queen.
I will find out if she is a real princess.
And she invited the girl to spend the night at the palace. The queen herself prepared a bed for the girl. She went into the bedroom and put a pea under the mattress. Then she put 19 very soft mattresses on top. When she was finished, the bed nearly touched the ceiling. The next morning, the girl looked awful.
What is wrong, dear child?
asked the queen.
Didn't you sleep well? No,
complained the girl.
I barely slept at all. There was something hard in the bed, and I tossed and turned all night. Now my whole body is black and blue.
The queen smiled and told the prince that he had found his princess.
She felt the pea through 20 mattresses,
said the queen.
Only a real princess could be so sensitive.
The prince was so happy. He married the princess, and they lived happily ever after.
The Ugly Duckling. Once there was a mother duck. One day she became excited. Her eggs were finally hatching. The cute little ducklings started walking around. One duckling, however, was different from the rest. He wasn't cute at all. All of the other ducks thought he was ugly. They refused to play with him. This made the ugly duckling sad, so he flew away. When autumn arrived, the weather got cooler. The ugly duckling wanted to stay warm. He found a small house and walked in. It was very comfortable. A nice woman lived there with her cat and hen. The woman welcomed the little duckling with open arms. However, the cat and the hen thought he was too ugly. They made him leave. The ugly duckling felt lost and didn't have anywhere to go. All of the other animals turned him away. Soon winter arrived. It was so cold that the pond turned into ice.
Luckily, a man found the duckling and brought him home. The warmth of the man's house made the duckling feel better. The man's wife and children scared the duckling, though, so he ran away. The duckling was back out in the freezing cold. This was a very sad time for the poor little duckling. Finally, winter ended. The lonely duckling was happy to see spring. The first thing he wanted to do was swim in the pond. When he got to the pond, he saw some beautiful swans there. He didn't want to swim anymore. He knew the swans would just make him leave. To his surprise, the swans invited him over. He didn't know why, though. When he jumped into the water, he saw his reflection. He was no longer an ugly duckling. He had grown into a beautiful swan.
The Daisy. A little daisy lived in the countryside next to a small path. Its petals were white like the snow. Its center was yellow like the sun. The daisy was tiny, but it was very happy. Some of the other flowers were taller and more attractive than the daisy. Others were more colorful. However, the daisy was not jealous. All it needed was the warm sun. The daisy looked up at the sky and saw a bird flying.
I am so lucky, thought the daisy. I can feel the sun and see the beautiful sky. I am rich.
The daisy watched the bird.
He will visit the other flowers,
thought the daisy.
They are so beautiful.
Instead, the bird came to the daisy and sang to it. The daisy was so pleased. Later, 2 boys chased the bird and captured it. They put it in a cage.
That is such a pity,
thought the daisy.
I wish I could stay with him and make him feel better.
In the cage, the bird sang sad songs. The boys took the daisy and put it in the cage.
That night, the careless boys forgot to give the bird water.
I am so thirsty,
said the bird. The daisy wanted to comfort him, but it could not move. The bird smiled sadly and kissed the daisy. In the morning, the bird was dead. The boys cried and buried him in a wooden box. They put beautiful flowers by the bird's grave. The boys threw the daisy onto the path. Nobody remembered the daisy, who had so much concern for the bird and who tried so hard to help it.
The Fir Tree.
Once there was a short fir tree. It lived in the forest. Every day it felt the warm sun. Every morning it watched groups of children playing nearby. The tree didn't care.
I wish I were as tall as the other trees,
it thought. Years passed and the tree grew taller. In the winter, some men cut it down. It was terribly painful, and the tree fainted. When the tree woke up, it was in a living room. Children were placing candles on it.
Where am I?
Thought the tree.
Oh, I wish I were back in the forest.
That evening, children hung silver balls from the tree's branches. A small boy placed a golden star upon the top of the tree. It became very bright and beautiful. Later on, an old man sat under the tree and told a story. The tree listened and enjoyed the story very much.
Wow,
thought the tree.
Things will be even better tomorrow.
The tree did not think of its gold and silver decorations. It didn't care about the beautiful living room.
Tomorrow,
it thought,
wonderful things will happen to me tomorrow.
The next day, some men carried the tree to an upstairs room.
Oh,
cried the tree.
It's so lonely here. The forest was warm and comfortable,
thought the tree.
When I was in the living room, I wore beautiful candles. I was happy, but I didn't know it.
A year passed. A man brought the tree down to the garden.
What an ugly old Christmas tree,
said the man. He chopped the tree into small pieces.
I wish I cherished my happy times more,
thought the tree, but it was too late.
The Wild Swans. This is the story of a very far-away country. The king and queen of this country had 11 sons and 1 daughter. Their sons were very handsome. Their only daughter's name was Eliza. One day, the queen passed away. Later, the king found a new wife. However, the new queen was a very bad person. She hated the king's children. She used magic to change the 11 boys into white swans. After that, she made Eliza leave the castle. Eliza had to live in a very small house. She was very sad and lonely. But the story is not over yet. One day, 11 white swans came to Eliza's house. Eliza knew they were her brothers. "Come with us," they said. "We'll take you to a very distant place."
The swans carried Eliza. They flew for a long time. Finally, they came to a new country. Eliza was happy, but she wanted to help her brothers. How could they become people again? One night, Eliza saw a fairy.
"You can help your brothers,"
said the fairy.
You must make 11 magic shirts. Then, your brothers must wear them.
Eliza began to make the shirts. As she was working, a young king from another country saw her magic.
She's a witch,
the king thought.
We must kill her.
The king took Eliza to the castle, but she kept working on the shirts. Later, a guard came to her.
Now you will die,
he said. As they took Eliza outside, she finished the last shirt. 11 swans flew to her. She gave each one a shirt. They all became men again. The young king was surprised. He and Eliza got married, and she became the queen.
Little Tuck. Once there was a boy named Tuck. Tuck needed to study for a geography test, but he also had to look after his baby sister. How could Tuck study and watch his sister at the same time? It was impossible. All day long, Tuck tried to study. All day long, his loud sister bothered him. Later that afternoon, his mother came home. "I'll watch your sister. You can study now." Tuck went to his bedroom to study, but then he looked out his window and saw an old woman crossing the street.
I must help her,
he thought.
Tuck helped the old woman. She smiled and said,
"You look unhappy. What's wrong?"
Tuck said,
I have a quiz tomorrow. I must learn about countries all over Europe. I'm sure to fail.
"You're a good boy,"
said the old woman.
"You'll be okay."
That night, Tuck went to bed and started to dream. He heard a friendly voice. It sounded just like the old woman's.
"The world is a magical and beautiful place,"
said the voice.
"Let me show it to you."
Suddenly, Tuck started to fly over his town.
Tuck flew to a distant castle and met a king.
"Welcome,"
said the king. The king told Tuck all about his country. Tuck flew to another place. It had green hills and beautiful forests. There a queen told him about her country and its people. After that, Tuck flew to another place, and another, and another.
Wow,
Tuck thought.
The world is an amazing place.
Tuck woke up the next morning. He left for school and took his test. Do you know how he did? He got 100 points. The buckwheat. Once I went to a distant country. This country has many farms. It also has fields of buckwheat. After a while, I noticed that the tops of the buckwheat were black and burned. I met a bird and I asked it, "Why is the buckwheat burned? Why aren't any of the other plants burned?" The bird nodded its head.
"I can tell you why. Last week I met an old tree. It was a tall, beautiful tree. It looked very wise. I asked it the same question. The tree told me that the buckwheat was burned because lightning hit it."
The tree told the bird that the buckwheat was very proud.
I'm as beautiful as the corn and the flowers,
The buckwheat said.
I'm also far more beautiful than an old tree.
In the spring, a storm came. The tree warned the buckwheat.
"Lightning is dangerous. What if it hits you?"
Do you see how the flowers and the corn bend their heads? You should do that too.
The buckwheat laughed and said,
You're just a stupid tree. I'm strong and beautiful. Why should I bend my head?
When the storm showed up, the other plants bent their heads. However, the buckwheat refused to do that.
I will look up at the sky and watch the storm. I don't need to be afraid.
Then, of course, lightning struck the buckwheat and burned it. There was smoke and fire. After the storm, the other plants were safe, but the buckwheat was burned.
That's the end of the story,
the bird told me.
But the proud buckwheat never learns its lesson. In the future, it will be burned again and again.
The Leapfrog. A flea, a grasshopper, and a leapfrog were talking. They wanted to know who could jump the highest. The king walked over to them and said,
I'll host a contest. The winner may marry my daughter.
Many people came to watch the contest. The grasshopper sang for everyone. People noticed that he wore nice green clothes and had good manners. Many expected him to win. The flea talked to people about science. He looked smart, and others were certain that he would win. The leapfrog stayed quiet. Nobody noticed him, and nobody thought he had a chance to win the contest. The next day, the contest began. First, the flea jumped high in the air. He jumped so high that people couldn't see him. They thought,
He didn't jump. He's hiding in the grass. He cheated.
Next, the grasshopper jumped. He jumped too close to the king's face. The king shook his head. He said,
That was very rude. I won't let that silly insect win the contest.
Now everyone was focused on the leapfrog. The leapfrog stayed silent. People said,
The frog can't win. Nobody's going to win the contest.
The leapfrog jumped onto the princess's shoulder. The king said,
My daughter is the kingdom's most important person. If the frog can jump up to her shoulder, he can jump higher than anybody. He is the winner.
The flea said,
That's not fair.
A week later, he joined the army. Some people say he was killed. The grasshopper hopped away. He decided that he would never get married. I heard this story from an old ladybug. I don't know if it really happened, but she swore that it did. The Old Street Lamp. Many years ago, there was a very old street lamp. It was the lamp's last night. The lamp thought,
Tomorrow they will take me down. What will happen to me?
A very old police officer was also going to retire. For 24 years, the police officer and his wife took care of the lamp. When the police officer retired, he spoke to his boss. He said,
I took care of the lamp for many years. Every night I cleaned it and gave it oil. Please give me the lamp.
The police officer and his wife took the lamp. They put the lamp in a big chair in their house. The lamp loved the police officer and his wife, so it was very happy. Every night, the police officer and his wife had dinner together. Sometimes they sat together and told stories. Their lives were simple but nice. The lamp stayed in its chair for a long time. On some nights, it thought,
I should be on the street again. I could give light to many more people.
One night, the lamp had a dream. In the dream, someone melted the lamp and changed it into a beautiful candlestick. Then a rich person bought it. The lamp woke up. It thought,
I will see great things in the future. I can't wait. But the police officer and his wife love me, so I should stay with them for now.
The lamp often thought about the future, but it loved the old house. For the lamp, staying with its friends was the best thing.
Little Ida's Flowers. Little Ida had many beautiful flowers. One morning, she noticed that her flowers looked dry. She said,
My flowers are sick.
Ida's big brother said,
They're not sick. Last night they went dancing. They're just tired.
Ida said,
Flowers can't dance. They can't even walk.
That's not true,
said her brother.
Flowers love dancing. Every night they get together and dance.
Ida said,
That's amazing. Where do they dance?
Her brother said,
Flowers dance in many different places. Let me tell you about it.
Ida's brother said,
At the dances, the prettiest flowers are like kings and queens. Every flower finds a partner and dances. It's wonderful.
Then Ida's father came into the room. Her father said,
Don't tell Ida those stupid stories.
Ida wanted to see the flowers dance. She put her flowers in her dollhouse. That night, she looked into the dollhouse. All of the flowers were dancing. Even Ida's doll was dancing. The doll looked like Ida's father. The doll looked a little stupid, and Ida laughed.
At the end of the dance, one of the flowers spoke to Ida's doll. Ida was very surprised. She didn't know that flowers could talk. The flower said,
Winter is coming. We will die soon. Please tell Ida to bury us in the garden. Then we can live again in spring.
The next morning, the flowers were dead. Ida buried them in her garden. Ida was a little sad, but she was also happy. In the spring, the flowers would grow and come back. Ida couldn't wait to watch them dance again. The Snowman.
It's cold,
said the snowman. He was only 1 day old, so being cold was interesting to him. He looked at the sky and said,
What's that red circle?
That night, he said,
What's that white circle?
A dog walked up to the snowman. It said,
The red circle was the sun. It just said, That white circle is the moon.
I didn't know that,
said the snowman.
Of course not,
said the dog.
You're very young. I must tell you something. Summer is coming. Soon the sun will turn you into water.
The next morning, the dog and the snowman were chatting. The dog said,
I used to live in the house behind me. I slept under the stove. It was so warm and nice.
The snowman looked through the house's window and saw the stove. He said,
That stove looks wonderful. I want to go in there and see it.
The dog said,
No, you must never go near the stove. You'll melt.
The snowman wasn't listening. He just looked at the stove. The dog thought,
I think the snowman is in love.
It got cold the next day. Most snowmen love cold weather, but this one didn't notice. He only paid attention to the stove. Later, the weather warmed up. The snowman began to melt. He didn't care. He kept thinking,
I wish I could visit that beautiful stove.
Finally, the snowman became a puddle. The dog looked at the water. It thought,
The poor snowman only thought about the stove. He didn't enjoy his life. Now it's over. Too bad.
Summer came and the weather became hot. Nobody thought about the snowman again. Clumsy Hans. A princess announced to the country that she wanted to get married. 2 brothers decided to visit the castle and propose to her. The first brother knew every word in the dictionary. He said,
The princess will see that I'm smart. She'll marry me.
The second brother was also smart. He knew every law in the country. He said,
The princess will love discussing politics with me. She's going to marry me.
They had a third brother named Clumsy Hans. Hans wasn't smart or handsome, but he wanted to propose to the princess too. The 3 brothers rode to the castle. Hans saw a dead bird. He said,
I'll give this to the princess.
His brothers laughed and said,
Yes, do that.
Later, Hans saw an old wooden shoe and said,
The princess will love this.
Then he saw some mud. He said,
The princess will love this too.
His brothers said,
Of course she will.
And laughed. They reached the castle. Both older brothers tried to speak with the princess, but they were far too nervous. The princess said, Go away. Then it was Hans's turn to speak. Hans said,
Something smells good.
The princess said, We're cooking birds. Hans said,
May I cook my dinner?
The princess said, We have no more pots. Hans said,
I'll use this shoe.
He put the bird in the shoe. Wonderful, said the princess, but you have no sauce.
I do,
said Hans. He took out his mud. The princess thought it was sauce. Hans said,
I'm so rich that I can spill my sauce.
He spilled all the mud. You're clever and rich, said the princess. I'll marry you. That's how Clumsy Hans became the new king.
What the old man does is always right. An old couple lived in the countryside. The couple had a small horse. One day, the man said,
We no longer need this horse. I'll bring it to the village and trade it.
His wife said, Good idea. The man left for the village. While he was walking, he saw a farmer with a cow. The man thought,
That cow can give milk.
He traded his horse for the cow. After that, he saw a woman with a sheep. He thought,
A sheep can give wool.
He traded his cow for the sheep. Later, the old man traded his sheep for a goose. Then he traded his goose for a chicken. In his opinion, these trades were very wise. He got to the village restaurant and decided to have a snack. The owner was throwing out a bag of rotten apples. The man thought,
My wife can use those apples to make a great pie.
He traded the chicken for the rotten apples. In the restaurant, the old man saw his friend Noah. He told Noah about his trades. Noah said,
Your wife will be angry.
The old man said,
My wife won't be angry.
Noah said,
Impossible. If your wife isn't mad, I'll give you 50 gold coins.
They went back to the old man's house. The old man told his wife about the trades. His wife said,
My dear, I don't agree with all your decisions, but you tried hard. I support you because I love you.
Then she gave her husband a kiss. Noah handed the old man 50 coins. He thought,
They know the meaning of love. No matter what, they always support one another.
Little Claus and Big Claus. Little Claus and Big Claus were neighbors. Big Claus owned 4 horses. Little Claus only had 1. Little Claus was plowing his field. He said,
Big Claus is rich, but he's a fool.
Big Claus was walking by and he heard this. He got angry and shot Little Claus's horse. Then he said,
I'm rich. I can bully you all I want.
Little Claus wanted to get back at Big Claus. He made a plan. He said to Big Claus,
I'll bring my horse's skin to Mountain Village. I'll sell it to a shoemaker.
In Mountain Village, Little Claus stayed the night in a hotel. A couple owned the hotel. The wife said,
You can have dinner with us.
There was a strawberry cake on the dinner table. The wife told Little Claus,
I'll hide that cake in the oven. I don't want to share it with my husband. He's too chubby.
Later, the husband came downstairs. He saw Little Claus's bag and asked, What's that? Little Claus said,
Some magic leather is in here. I just used it to put a yummy cake in your oven.
The husband saw the cake and said,
Amazing!
The wife didn't want her husband to know she hid the cake. She didn't say anything. The husband bought the horse's skin for 100 silver coins. Little Claus went home and showed Big Claus his money. Big Claus killed his 4 horses and went to Mountain Village. He told the shoemakers that each skin cost 100 coins. The shoemakers laughed. One even threw a stone at him. That really embarrassed Big Claus. After that, Big Claus never bullied Little Claus again.
Grimm's Fairy Tales. The Frog Prince. One evening, a princess went outside to play with her golden ball. By accident, she bounced it too high. It bounced over her head and into a nearby pond. Then, an ugly frog stuck his head out of the water. He said,
"I will get your ball for you, but you must promise to love me and to let me live with you."
The princess just wanted her golden ball back, so she agreed. The frog found the ball and gave it to the princess. She immediately ran home, leaving the sad frog behind. Later that night, the princess told her father about the frog. Suddenly, she heard a knock at the door. She opened it and was alarmed to see the frog. She slammed the door shut.
The princess ran to her father. She said that the ugly frog was at the door. He reminded her that the frog did her a favor. Now she must keep her promise. The princess hesitated. Then she let the frog come inside. She refused to pick him up, though. The frog dined with the princess and her father. The princess watched the frog grab the food with his long tongue. She lost her appetite. The frog thanked the princess for letting him in. Later, the frog asked the princess to kiss him goodnight. The thought made her sick. She hesitated again. Finally, she closed her eyes and kissed the frog. To her surprise, the frog turned into a handsome prince. They got married and lived happily ever after. Cat and Mouse in Partnership. A long, long time ago, a cat became friends with a mouse. The cat said,
"Winter is coming. Let's team up and live together."
The mouse agreed. After all, they would survive if they became partners. They picked an old building for their home and started preparing for winter. They went out and found a bucket of lard on someone's stove. The cat said,
This lard will help us survive. However, we can't keep it at home. Someone will steal it."
They took the bucket to an old church and placed it under a seat.
"Nobody will find it in here,"
the cat said. The next day, the cat said to the mouse,
"My sister is going to have a baby tomorrow. I want to go and see my nephew."
Instead, the cat went to the church. She entered in silence.
This lard is so yummy."
She drank a few mouthfuls with her tongue. A few days went by. The cat said,
"My other sister is going to have a baby too. I want to see the birth of my niece."
She returned to the church and finished off the rest of the lard. One day, the mouse said,
"Let's go to the church and have some lard."
The cat agreed, and they left together. When they got to the church, the mouse saw that the lard was all gone and figured out the truth.
"Oh, you're so cruel and selfish,"
said the mouse.
"You robbed me. We have no food, and now we'll starve to death."
The cat said,
I don't think so.
She grabbed the mouse and ate her.
I'm sorry to do such a terrible thing.
The cat thought.
But this is how the world works. Meow.
Rapunzel. Long ago, there was a very poor couple. They couldn't afford food, so they took some vegetables from Dame Gothel's garden. Dame Gothel saw this and got angry. She punished the couple by taking their baby girl from them. She named her Rapunzel and kept her in a tall tower. The tower had no door and only one window at the top. Years passed, and Rapunzel grew up to be a lovely woman with long hair. One day, a prince was nearby and heard Rapunzel singing. He immediately fell in love with her.
The prince couldn't find the tower's entrance. Then he hid, because Dame Gothel was coming. She shouted,
Rapunzel, let down your hair.
Rapunzel's long hair fell from the window, and Dame Gothel used it to climb into the tower. After Dame Gothel left, the prince called Rapunzel's name. She let her hair down. A few minutes later, the handsome prince was at her window. It was love at first sight. Later that evening, the prince found a ladder and helped Rapunzel escape. However, Rapunzel wasn't free for long. Dame Gothel caught her.
Dame Gothel was so angry that she cut off Rapunzel's hair. The prince tried stopping her, but fell into some bushes. This blinded him, and he couldn't see where Dame Gothel took Rapunzel. He spent many years searching for Rapunzel. He would give anything to hear her voice again. While searching the desert, he heard a familiar voice singing. He found Rapunzel. She was so happy that she cried. When some of her tears fell into the prince's eyes, he could finally see again. Later, they got married and lived happily ever after.
Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, a poor woodcutter lived in a small house in the woods. He had 2 children, Hansel and Gretel. He loved his son and daughter, but his second wife was mean to them.
There is not enough food,
The wife said.
We have to get rid of the children.
He was sad, but he couldn't stand up to her. The woodcutter gave the children some bread and took them far in the woods. He left them alone. Hansel had made a trail of breadcrumbs from their home. However, birds ate the crumbs. They were lost. Hansel and Gretel stayed in the woods overnight. The next day they looked for a way home. They came upon a strange house made of candy. They were very hungry, so they broke off pieces of the house and ate them. Suddenly, the front door opened. An old woman looked out.
Come in,
She said,
I have more candy for you.
Actually, the old woman was an evil witch. She locked Hansel in a cage and forced Gretel to do housework. She wanted to make Hansel fat before she ate him. A few weeks later, the witch thought it was about time to eat Hansel. She told Gretel to light the oven.
I don't know how.
Gretel lied.
Foolish child, I'll do it.
The witch said angrily. When she leaned into the oven and lit up the fire, Gretel pushed her into the fire. She let Hansel out and took the witch's treasure. The woodcutter was glad to see his children again. He told them their stepmother had died. They had the witch's treasure and lived happily ever after.
Cinderella. There once was a beautiful girl named Cinderella. Cinderella lived with her cruel stepmother and her two selfish stepsisters. They forced her to do all the housework, and they never helped. Then one night, Cinderella's stepsisters put on their prettiest dresses and went to a royal ball. Poor Cinderella stayed home and cried. She wanted to go so much, but she had nothing pretty to wear. Suddenly, her fairy godmother appeared. She took out her wand and turned Cinderella's dirty clothes into a beautiful dress. Then she turned a pumpkin into a golden carriage and 6 mice into big white horses. Finally, she gave Cinderella a pair of glass slippers.
Now you may go to the ball,
she said to Cinderella.
However, you must leave before midnight. When the clock strikes 12, the carriage, horses, and your beautiful dress will disappear.
Cinderella was the most beautiful girl at the ball. Her stepsisters didn't even recognize her. The prince thought she was a princess and fell in love with her. Cinderella and the prince danced all night. Suddenly, the clock began to strike midnight, and Cinderella dashed out of the castle. She ran so fast that a glass slipper came off her left foot. The next day, the prince arrived at Cinderella's house.
A princess left this glass slipper behind,
he said.
I want to find her and marry her.
The stepsisters tried to squeeze their fat feet into the slipper, but they couldn't do it. Then Cinderella tried it on. It was a perfect fit. Cinderella and the prince got married and lived happily in the castle. However, her stepsisters weren't happy at all. Now they had to do all the housework themselves.
Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in the woods with her mother. Her name was Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother said to her,
Please take this basket of food to your grandmother. Go straight to her house and don't talk to strangers.
I promise,
said Little Red Riding Hood, and she set off down the path. After a few minutes, she saw a wolf.
Where are you going, little girl?
asked the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood forgot all about her promise and said,
I'm going to Granny's house.
The wolf quickly ran to Granny's house. He burst through the door and locked Granny in the basement. Then he put on Granny's pajamas, got into her bed, and waited. A few minutes later, Little Red Riding Hood arrived. She was surprised that Granny looked so different.
What big eyes you have, Granny,
she said.
The better to see you with,
said the wolf.
And what big teeth you have,
the better to eat you with,
shouted the wolf, and he jumped out of the bed to eat Little Red Riding Hood.
The wolf chased Little Red Riding Hood around the bedroom.
Help! Help!
cried Little Red Riding Hood.
A hungry wolf is trying to eat me.
A woodcutter heard Little Red Riding Hood and ran to the house. He chased the wolf away with his axe and let Granny out of the basement. Little Red Riding Hood gave her grandmother a big hug.
I'm so sorry, Granny,
she said.
It was all my fault. I told that bad wolf I was coming here. Now I've learned my lesson. I will never talk to strangers again.
The Bremen Musicians. There once was a donkey who was getting old and could no longer work.
I'll go to Bremen,
said the donkey.
I'll become a musician.
As the donkey was walking, he saw a crying dog.
What's wrong?
asked the donkey.
I'm too old and I can't hunt anymore,
said the dog.
My master wanted to kill me, so I ran away.
The donkey invited the dog to come with him. Later they met an old cat who could no longer catch mice and a rooster who could no longer sing. Together, the four friends headed for Bremen.
As the animals were walking, they saw a small house. They felt the fire and smelled the delicious food. The donkey looked inside and saw 4 thieves. He said, "We should live here." First, they had to scare the thieves away. They stood outside the house. The dog climbed onto the donkey's back, the cat climbed onto the dog's back, and the rooster stood on the cat's head. The 4 animals started to sing. The thieves thought they heard a ghost, and they ran away. The animals had a new home.
The thieves were very mad.
We must get our house back,
said the captain. He ordered one man to go back. The house was dark, and the man could hardly see. The cat scratched the man's eyes, and the dog bit him in the leg. The donkey kicked the man in the stomach, and the rooster screamed. The man ran away and told the captain that an evil witch lived in their house. The thieves decided to leave. The 4 animals lived in the house for the rest of their lives.
Puss in Boots. Once upon a time, a poor farmer died. He only left his young son a cat. However, this was no ordinary cat. "Give me a pair of boots," the cat said to the boy. "In return, I will help you." The boy didn't believe this, but he still gave him the boots. One day, the cat heard that the king and the princess would ride in a coach along the river. The cat thought of a plan. He told the boy to take a bath in the river. The boy didn't understand, but he followed the cat's directions.
When the king's coach passed by, the cat stopped it.
"Thieves stole my master's clothes,"
the cat said. The king gave fine clothes to the boy and let him ride in his coach. The boy sat next to the princess. They fell in love at once. The cat ran ahead to the next town. The people warned him about an evil ogre who lived in a castle nearby. The cat offered to kill the ogre. In return, they would tell the king that their town belonged to his master. The people agreed.
At the castle, the cat found the ogre. He changed into a lion to scare the cat. Hiding his fear, the cat said, "Can you turn into something small?" When the ogre changed into a mouse, the cat ate him. The king arrived at the town later. "Who owns this land?" he asked a shopkeeper. The shopkeeper pointed at the boy and said, "That young man." They went on to the castle. The cat welcomed them inside. The king was impressed with the boy and gave him his daughter's hand in marriage.
The Elves and the Shoemaker. Many years ago, there was a very poor shoemaker. Day after day, he cut patterns out of leather and stitched them together. One day, business was so bad that he closed his shop early. He left the leather on his workbench and went to bed. When he woke up the next morning, he saw 2 pairs of shoes on his workbench. He looked at them carefully. They were perfect. Later, he sold them to a customer. The customer was impressed by the quality of the shoes. He paid a very high price for them. For weeks, the shoemaker would leave leather on the workbench and go to bed. The next morning, he would see new pairs of shoes. Customers loved the shoes. Suddenly, business picked up.
One night, the shoemaker closed the shop as usual. However, he hid behind the curtain instead of going to bed. At midnight, 2 naked elves walked out of the shadows. They picked up some tools and started making shoes. Once they finished, they ran away. The next morning, the shoemaker told his wife about the elves. They felt sorry for the naked elves. After all, the elves helped the shoemaker become wealthy. They thanked the elves by making clothes and shoes in their sizes. That night, the shoemaker left the gifts on the workbench. He stayed up to see their reaction. The elves were happy and put on their new clothes. Then they danced out of the shop in their new shoes. This filled the shoemaker with joy. Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, a king and queen had a precious baby girl. To celebrate, they invited all of their friends and some fairies to a big party. At the party, each of the fairies was giving the child magical gifts. Suddenly, an evil fairy appeared.
How dare you not invite me?
She shouted.
When this child turns 15, she shall prick her finger on a spindle and die.
Then the evil fairy disappeared. Luckily, one fairy still had a gift to give.
Instead of dying,
She said,
the princess will sleep for 100 years.
The princess had no knowledge of the curse as she grew up. On her 15th birthday, she discovered a new tower in the castle. She climbed the narrow stairs and saw a dark room. Inside, an old woman sat at a spindle. The princess didn't know it was the evil fairy. The princess pointed to the spindle.
What is that thing?
She asked as she lightly touched the spindle. In an instant, the princess fell into a deep sleep. Soon after, everyone else in the castle fell asleep too. They stayed this way for 100 years.
Many years later, a prince was riding his horse in the forest. He came upon the silent castle and was curious. When he went inside, he was surprised that everyone in the castle was asleep. When the prince reached the top of the tower, he saw the sleeping princess. He thought she was very beautiful. Without thinking, the prince bent down and gave her a kiss. As his lips touched her, Sleeping Beauty opened her eyes and smiled at him. After this, everyone, including the king and queen, woke up. The prince and Sleeping Beauty married soon after. They lived happily all of their lives. Little Snow White. Once upon a time, a queen died after giving birth to a baby girl. The baby was as white as snow, so she was named Snow White. A year later, the king married a woman who was beautiful but lacked goodness. Every day, the new queen would look in her mirror and ask,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
The mirror would always reply, You, my queen. However, as Snow White grew up, she became more and more lovely. One day, when the queen asked the mirror her question, the mirror replied, Snow White is the fairest of them all. This filled the queen with anger. The next day, the queen sent a servant to kill Snow White. Out of pity, he set her free instead. Snow White wandered the forest until she saw a little house. The house belonged to 7 dwarves.
If I cook and do the housework, can I stay here?
Snow White asked. The dwarves happily agreed. The evil queen soon discovered that Snow White was still alive. The queen dressed like an old peddler and went to the dwarves' home.
Try a juicy apple,
she told Snow White. Not knowing the apple was filled with poison, Snow White bit into it. Then she fell down dead. When the 7 dwarves arrived home, they set eyes on the dead princess. Our poor Snow White, they cried. With great sorrow, they laid the princess in a glass coffin. As the dwarves were mourning her, a prince rode by. The dwarfs told the prince what happened, and he felt sorry for Snow White. The prince kissed her, making the piece of poisoned apple fall from her lips. Snow White slowly began to wake. "She's alive!" cried the happy dwarves. The prince soon married Snow White. All 7 dwarves came to the wedding. And what happened to the awful queen? She was forced to leave and was never heard from again.
The Golden Goose. Once there were 2 brothers. The younger brother was named Dummling. Everyone said that Dummling was ugly and foolish. One day, Dumling's older brother went into the forest to chop wood. He saw an old man who said,
"Please give me some bread."
The older brother said,
"No, if I do, I might die of hunger."
Later, Dummling went to chop wood. When the old man asked for food, Dummling gave it to him.
"Thank you,"
said the old man.
"I will give you a gift."
The old man gave Dummling a goose. It had shining, golden feathers.
As Dummling left the forest, a rich woman saw his goose.
"Those feathers look valuable,"
she said.
"I want one."
When she grabbed a feather, her hand stuck to the goose. She couldn't pull it away. Her servant shook the woman's wrist and said,
"What's the matter?"
Now, the servant's hand was stuck to the woman's wrist, and the woman was stuck to the goose. A priest tried to free the girls, but his hand got stuck too. Soon, 10 people were stuck together. They followed Dummling through the town.
Dummling and the others passed a castle. A princess lived upstairs in the castle's tower. The princess was always very sad. The king said that if a man could make his daughter smile, that man could marry her. The princess heard shouting. She rushed to the window and saw a line of people. They were following a man with a golden goose. She thought this was funny and laughed out loud. The king thanked Dummling and allowed him to marry the princess. After the wedding, Dummling became the new king.
Clever Gretel. One day, Mr. Peterson told his cook, Gretel, that a guest was coming over. He wanted her to roast 2 hens for them, so Gretel put 2 hens over a fire. After a while, the hens turned brown, but Mr. Peterson's guest hadn't arrived yet. Gretel noticed that one of the wings was burning.
"What a shame,"
she said. She ate the wing so that it wouldn't burn anymore. A few hours went by. Mr. Peterson's guest still hadn't arrived. She couldn't even find Mr. Peterson.
"Perhaps they went somewhere else for dinner,"
Gretel said.
"Well, I've already started eating one of the hens,"
she said.
"I might as well finish it."
Gretel ate the rest of it. It was so delicious that she ate the second hen too. Suddenly, Gretel heard Mr. Peterson's voice. "My guest is here. Let him in." Mr. Peterson ran to the dining room table and picked up a knife. He was hungry for a hen. Gretel ran to the front door. She whispered to the guest,
You must leave. Mr. Peterson wants to cut off your ears.
This scared the guest, and he started running away. Then Gretel went into the dining room and said,
Mr. Peterson, your guest just ran away with both hens.
Mr. Peterson ran after him, but he forgot to put down the knife. Waving the knife in the air, Mr. Peterson yelled, I just want a hen. But the guest was covering his ears with his hands. Meanwhile, clever Gretel went to bed with a full stomach.
Dr. Know-All. Once, there was a man named Crab. One day, Crab met a doctor. The doctor had good clothes and ate good food.
I want to be a doctor,
Crab thought. Crab asked if he could also be a doctor.
Of course,
said the doctor.
It's very easy. First, get an ABC book. Then, sell your things. Use the money to buy nice clothes. Finally, put a sign on your door. The sign must say, Dr. Know-All.
Crab did all of that. Soon, he was also a doctor. One day, a rich man came to Crab's house.
Someone stole my money,
he said.
Please help me find it.
Okay,
said Crab.
My wife must come too.
They went to the rich man's house. First, they had dinner. When the servant gave them food, Crab said to his wife,
That's the first one.
He was talking about the first part of the meal. However, the servant thought that Crab was talking about him. Actually, the servant was the thief. He thought,
Oh no, the doctor knows. I must tell my friends.
When the second servant gave them food, Crab said,
That's the second one.
He was talking about the food again, but the servant didn't know that.
Oh no,
the servant thought.
He knows I also took the money.
The servants asked Crab to come outside. They showed Crab where the money was.
We'll give it back,
they said.
Please don't tell anyone. If you do, we'll die.
Crab gave the money to the rich man. He didn't tell him who stole it. After that, Crab became famous, and everyone called him Dr. Know-All.
The Blue Light. A long time ago, there was a soldier who served his king for many years. One day the soldier was wounded. The king said,
You can no longer fight for me. I have to fire you.
The soldier had no money, and he wandered for many days. Finally, he came upon a witch's home.
Work for me, and I will feed you,
said the witch. She made the soldier work very hard. One night the witch said,
There is something at the bottom of my well. Go down and get it for me.
The soldier agreed. After all, what choice did he have? Down in the well, the soldier found a strange blue light. He was very curious. When the witch pulled him up, she said,
Hand over the light.
The soldier refused, so the witch dropped him back into the well. Inside the well, a dwarf suddenly appeared.
I serve the owner of the blue light. What do you command?
The soldier told the dwarf to bring the witch to court. Later, the dwarf returned.
The witch has been punished,
he said. He helped the soldier escape from the well and gave him many treasures. The soldier bought new clothes and ate wonderful food. He said to the dwarf,
"Bring the king's daughter to serve me."
When the king learned of the soldier's plan, he arrested the soldier.
"You took my daughter,"
said the king.
"Now you have to die."
The soldier gestured, and the dwarf appeared.
"The king is evil,"
said the soldier.
"Kill him."
The king cried out and begged for mercy.
"I'll give you everything,"
he said.
"Just let me live."
And so the soldier became the new king and married the princess.
The Fox and the Horse. There once was a farmer who had a horse. The horse grew very old, so the farmer stopped feeding him.
"I don't need you anymore,"
the farmer said.
"I want you to leave. Don't come back until you're stronger than a lion."
The sad horse left. He walked into the woods and met a fox. The fox asked the horse why he was so sad. The horse told the fox what the farmer said. The fox had an idea.
"I want you to play dead,"
said the fox.
"I'll be back soon."
The fox ran off, and the horse lay down on the ground. He looked dead. Later, the fox came back with a lion. The lion was ready to eat the horse.
"This isn't a safe place,"
said the fox to the lion.
"Other animals might want to eat the horse too. I'll tie the horse's tail to your tail. Then you can take the horse somewhere else."
The lion thought this was a good idea. He lay down so that the fox could tie the horse's tail to his tail. But the fox played a trick on the lion. He tied the horse's tail to the lion's legs. Now the lion couldn't go anywhere. The happy horse got up and thanked the fox. Then he walked back to the farmer. The farmer saw his old horse pulling a lion behind him.
"It looks like you are stronger than a lion,"
the farmer said, and he welcomed the horse back home. The 12 Dancing Princesses. There was a king who had 12 daughters. His daughters all slept in the same room. When they slept, they always locked their door. Every morning, their shoes were worn out. The king thought that this was strange. What were they doing every night? The king said that if anyone could solve this mystery, that person would be rewarded. Many princes came from far and wide to try, but they all failed. A former soldier heard this story. This soldier had bad wounds, so he couldn't fight anymore. He decided to solve the riddle. He went to the castle.
The next day, the soldier met the king. The king said, "Watch my daughters tonight.
Tomorrow, tell me what happened.
In the bedroom, the girls offered the soldier wine. The soldier pretended to drink it, but he didn't swallow it. After that, he pretended to sleep.
He's sleeping,
said the girls. The girls put on their shoes. One of them clapped, and a trap door in the floor opened. They all walked down through the door. The soldier followed them. He was careful to stay far behind them. Then he saw an amazing sight.
They were in a beautiful underground world. There were golden trees and silver waterfalls. The soldier heard horns and flutes. The girls danced all night.
That's why their shoes are worn out,
the soldier said.
They dance every night.
He had to prove that his story was true, so he took a golden leaf from a tree. The next day, the soldier told the king all about it. The king was very grateful to him. The soldier became a hero and was popular all through the kingdom.
Iron John.
A hunter was walking outside and came upon a big lake. He looked in the lake and saw a giant under the water. The giant's hair was gold. His skin was iron. The hunter brought the giant to the king. The king put the giant in a cage.
The giant will live here,
said the king.
Nobody may let him out.
However, the prince felt sorry for the giant and opened the cage.
When my father learns that I let you go, he'll be angry,
said the prince.
Take me with you.
The giant agreed, and they ran away together. In the forest, they came to a magic well.
This is my well,
said the giant.
If something touches the water, it will turn into gold. Be careful. Don't touch the water.
The prince looked at the water. He got too close. His hair touched the water and turned into gold. The giant shook his head.
You're not careful enough. You can't stay here. However, if you need my help, say my name, Iron John. I'll come help you.
The prince thanked the giant and walked out of the woods. The prince went to another country and became a knight. Soon a war broke out. The prince called Iron John's name.
I need a strong horse and a sharp sword.
The prince fought and helped win the war. The king asked who the brave knight was. The other knights said it was a young man with golden hair. The king found the prince.
Thank you,
said the king.
You will marry my daughter and rule this land.
The prince married the princess and became the new king.
Three Silly Wishes.
There once lived a poor woodcutter. Even though he was very hard-working, he was always poor and unhappy. One day, he threw down his axe and shouted,
I'm tired of life. I work so hard, but none of my wishes ever come true.
Suddenly, a tree spirit appeared in front of him. "Poor woodcutter," said the spirit, "cheer up. I'm here to give you 3 wishes. You will get the next 3 things you wish for, no matter what they are." The woodcutter ran home to tell his wife. Right away, she began talking about all the things she wanted.
"We should consider this carefully, though,"
said the woodcutter.
"We must not waste these wishes." The woodcutter got some wine and thought about his wishes. The wine was so good that he said to his wife, "I wish I had some yummy sausages to go with this wine." Suddenly, several sausages floated into the room.
"You fool!"
yelled his wife.
"You could have wished for a kingdom, but you wished for sausages instead. You're as stupid as a donkey."
The woodcutter was very angry. Without thinking, he shouted, "I wish these sausages were hanging from your nose." Suddenly, the sausages were really on his wife's nose. They tried and tried, but they couldn't pull them off. Finally, the woodcutter had to use his 3rd wish to fix her nose. Now his wishes were all gone, but he could only blame himself.
The Pied Piper.
Long ago, there was a small town called Hamelin. The town had a very big problem. It had hundreds of rats. The townspeople tried everything to get rid of them. However, nothing ever worked. One day, a stranger came to the town.
"You may call me the Pied Piper,"
he said.
"I am good at catching rats, so I can help you."
The people of the town were very happy to hear that. They promised to pay him well if he succeeded.
The Pied Piper played his magic pipe. Soon the rats in the town were attracted by the music. As the Pied Piper walked, all the rats followed him. He kept playing until he brought the rats into the river. Then all the rats drowned. The townspeople cheered when they found out. However, they did not pay the man as they promised.
"We are pleased with your work, but we are very poor,"
they said.
"We have no money to give you."
The Pied Piper got very angry and left the town.
A week later, the Pied Piper returned to Hamelin in secret. He played his pipe again. This time, he attracted the children of the town. The children followed the sound of the music. The Pied Piper led them far from the town. Then he sent a message to the townspeople. He said he would return the children, but he wanted to be paid twice his fee. The townspeople had no choice but to pay him.
"It's our fault for not keeping our promise,"
they said. It was an expensive lesson to learn.